Welcome to the Holistic Human Podcast, where we discuss the elements that allows us to thrive, flourish, and bring forth our hidden potential. Session highlights.
Your mindset is not something you develop in the race itself, right? I think the main part of, let's call it an Ironman mindset, comes from the years and months of disciplined and consistent training. Most people they're living beyond or below their standards, right? They don't dare to dream big and go out of themselves. And I think people should much more believe in themselves and dream big. Most people would be surprised how much their body or their mind or their brain is able to achieve if they just want it and just start to do it.
And then when some people say this at you, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And then when you're able to do this very hard thing, you have the discipline and the commitment, and then this carries on to other aspects of your life as well. Just like to ask, there's a lot of diet and nutrition plans out there. When you are training, is there something that you adhere to? I believe my body is intelligent, and then if you pause to listen, it can give you hints what actually you need to eat right now, and then it can give you hints whether now is a time to rest and recalibrate. Because sometimes what I want to do is I just want to go forward and then keep on doing. Then my body just sends me a signal and says, "Oh, you should take a breather, man."
And for me, it was very important to doing this inner work, and I found my new life, and I'm doing a lot of things different. I'm much more present now. So in transformational coaching, it's different, because you don't really know the outcome, but you're working on much deeper on yourself, and you're not looking for the solution somewhere outside. So you're looking basically for the solution inside yourself.
We don't just do superficial stuff, not just goal setting and then achieving, and then that's the end. It's more about the inner work, the inner journey, finding your principles, your values, even changing your beliefs so that you get to grow into the next version of you, and then achieving your potential, because all of us have a lot of hidden potential. If only we spend the time to look and find the treasures within ourselves, we can do so much more.
Absolutely.
I completed my housemanship. I completed my medical school, and I completed my housemanship training. It was grueling. It's like working 36 hours shifts, and then sometimes it's like you do that 2 to 3 times a week, 36-hour working, and then it's crazy. But I still love what I do. I found that I thought I didn't want to do medicine anymore, but this one-to-one connection with someone, being able to heal them with my hands, it feels right, it feels natural. So this is what I wanted to do. Let the fun begin. Hi Ingo, I know you from Twitter, and I know that you have completed 6 Ironmans, and the last one was actually in Hawaii.
Yeah. That's correct. Hi KY. Nice to talk to you again.
Okay, that's really impressive, and I think it takes a lot to complete a simple marathon, and I myself is attempting to challenge a half marathon sometime next year, and to imagine someone completing an Ironman or triathlon not just once but 3 times, but 6 times is very amazing for me. I like to learn from your experience and then share with my audience. If a person chooses to have a peak performance in sports, what does it take and what is the experience like? Yeah, can you tell me more about your exploits or your experience in sports, Ingo?
Yes, sure, absolutely. And first of all, thanks for the invitation. I'm happy to talk to you again. And yes, so I must say, I always liked sports. I like the outdoors. I like to be in nature, and I like to run and cycle. And that was always a passion for me. And then it became more and more. And I started actually when I was around 20 years old, when I was a student. So I started with running. And I like to run a lot in the mountains, and that felt very good for me. But the problem was, by running downhill, it's a lot of weight. That's a big impact on your ankles. So after a while, I got knee problems. And then I started cycling. I said, okay, cycling is better for the bones. And I did also mountain biking and road cycling. Did also there some bicycle races in the Alps mainly. After a few years, I was like, okay, then I can also add swimming, and then I do a triathlon. And that's how I came to Ironman racing. I think in 2007 was my first Ironman competition. And since then, I fall in love with the sport.
to um, to to complete in an Ironman, that means you have to be good in all three. And how do you get yourself to be good in all three? Running, cycling, and swimming.
Yeah, that's very simple. You just need to train in every three sports every week. Not every day, but every week. It's good to train at least 2 to 3 times. Swimming it depends a little bit on your background, but if you know already swimming, you can do it with 1 or 2 times swimming a week. You can complete Ironman because swimming is the first and shortest distance. It usually takes between an hour and a half for most swimmers or for most athletes. And you just need to see that you get through. If you're not really competitive, if it's just for the finishing. And but cycling and running is something you need to practice over quite some time.
Wow, I didn't know that you'll think that swimming is the easiest, because swimming will be the hardest for me, and I'll definitely prefer cycling and running. Okay, interesting.
No, I didn't say it's the easiest. It's actually quite hard, but what I'm saying is it's just in terms of time, in percentage of the time, also in the training and also in the competition, it's the least. The swimmers will hate me for saying that, but it's the least important, because usually, for me, just to give an example, for me it took swimming in the Ironman took an hour, cycling 5 hours, and running a marathon around 3.5 hours. So swimming, if you're not a good swimmer and you swim, let's say 1.5 hours instead of 1 hour, it's half an hour more. But if you're not a good runner and instead of 4 hours you run 6 hours, there's much more place to leave time. So it's in the beginning I would definitely focus more on this. But swimming is actually pretty hard, especially in the first triathlons that you're doing, because usually you're not training the situation in a competition, right? You usually go to a swimming pool, or you swim in a lake, and you're alone, and you swim your lanes and going up and down, and it becomes boring after a while. But if you go to a triathlon, it's very different, because suddenly you're in the water. It's usually a lake or a river or the sea, and you're together with at least a few hundred other athletes, and everybody wants to first. So it's quite intense, and it's also where there's a lot of body contact, and if you're not used to that in the open water, to be amongst so many people, so it's quite difficult.
I can imagine to be whether in the water, on the road, to be among 100 other participants and then chasing for something. You need to really have a very strong mindset. And how do you hone your mind to be able to compete in such a situation?
Yeah, I think the important point or the interesting point here is that your mindset is not something you develop in the race itself, right? I think the main part of, let's call it an Ironman mindset, comes from the years and months of disciplined and consistent training, where you really make also your sacrifices, and you're really focusing on the training, and where you need to be dedicated. It's the training time. At least, let's say, the 6 months before the race are very hard, because you need to train every week, and almost every day you need to train. And then actually, if you're prepared well, so the Ironman competition itself is almost like the reward. It can still be a challenge, and a lot of things can happen. It's a long day, but it's a great reward for all this months and years of effort. And
Wow, I actually like that how to say mindset, where the actual competition is the reward. That provides actually a perspective shift and a reframe actually. And I think that's really helpful. Instead of something daunting, it's something to look forward to. Let me celebrate with this race. Wow, powerful. I think that's really powerful. Interesting. And you mentioned that you started falling in love with the sport after you tried running the mountains and then cycling. And did someone encourage you, or did you receive inspiration from someone to do this?
not really. I mean, I don't have any idols in the sport, or anybody that I follow. I think Ironman is a very individualistic sport. It's more about overcoming yourself, and it's also not so important to compete with others, right? The main thing is to compete with yourself, and also to finish it yourself, and that you that you do it alone basically. So it's mainly training for your own body and mind, and there are many people in the competition, so you're not. I mean, I'm not going for the first place or the second place, and it doesn't really matter now if you're position 100 or 500 in the race. So it's more for yourself. You set your own goals and you try to achieve them, and that's what matters.
That's true. That's true. Honing our mental fortitude and then training our body for it, and then competing with ourselves, completing something that's difficult and hard, and then to be able to eventually do that is you conquered something, and then when some people say this at you, how you do one thing is how you do everything, and then when you're able to do this very hard thing, you have the discipline and the commitment, and then this carries on to other aspects of your life as well. Do you see that happening for you?
Yes, absolutely. I would fully agree with that. And I think, that's what you mentioned before about the mindset development, right? And Ironman has a lot to do with goal setting and follow your passions. And for me, it was a long way from, if you see, from competing in my first triathlon, it was I think in 2007 or 2008, and till going to the World Championship in Hawaii, which was more or less 10 years later in 2018. It was a long journey, and if you're an endurance athlete, most of them have the dream to go to the World Championship to Hawaii, because this is like what endurance events stand for, right? This is the top. This is like the biggest place to be if you want to be in this spot. But it's also a good example how goals develop over years, right? In the first year, of course, I didn't say, okay, I want to go to the World Championship now. So you start, okay, I want to finish first, and then you develop your goals, and you're getting better. And I didn't do over all these years, like I didn't do every year competition, because then I had also, and we founded a family, and I got my kids, and I had other priorities, job and work. But finally I succeeded, and I went to the World Championship. And it was really this moment when you get there, and when you then cross the finish line of your lifelong dream, then I really knew that I can achieve anything, because that's really so powerful to get there. Yeah, it was really great.
Awesome. I just feel inspired just listening to you. Just give me like energy. I can feel I can do listening from Ingo. Yeah, you're inspirational. That's awesome. And how you evolve yourself through the years from your first marathon, triathlon, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth. And I'm sure
Yes.
you find yourself evolving mentally and internally, spiritually, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Wow, amazing. And it's definitely it's not easy, because you have to juggle your career, you have to juggle your family and everything. And to be able to do that in 2018, how young were your kids at that time?
They were 8 and 6.
8 and 6. Wow, really not easy, because my kids are 7 and 4 now, and
Yes.
this is the time they need us the most, I think. And yeah, wow, really great job for you to be able to balance career, family, and actually complete triathlon, because the training takes, I would imagine that it takes quite a lot of time and effort, and kudos to you. That's really awesome. And in just like to ask, there's a lot of diet and nutrition plans out there when you are training. Is there something that you adhere to?
In terms of nutrition, you mean?
Yeah, nutrition and diet.
Yeah, there are different approaches, and I think nutrition. I think I'm not following a particular diet, or not. I'm not an advocate of a particular diet. Like I'm not saying you have to be vegan or you have to eat a lot of meat, or do this or that. I think there are different approaches that can work for you. It depends also on each person is different, and each person needs a little bit something different, I would say. I think it's important, to have a high quality of nutrition, and of course you shouldn't eat, at least not large amounts of junk food or sweets or chocolates. Yeah, you need to find your balance. We're always focused on having a healthy nutrition, like we're eating a lot of vegetables. We take care that most of our sources of nutrition are organic and are from high quality, at least as much as this is possible. You cannot always be 100% sure, but yeah, it's important for us, also for our kids, that we have a high quality of meat and eggs and vegetables. You need to drink a lot of water. Some supplements are important, especially magnesium, for example. And I think that the most important thing is in all this preparation, and that's also something I learned over all these years, is to listen to your body. Because I believe that your body is, this applies to nutrition, but also to training, because if you just follow blindly a training plan, maybe it might be in 1 week, it might be too much for you, and you will have some aches that can develop into injury, or it's too less for you. So if you listen to your body and if you start to understand what your body is telling you in terms of, I have a pain here, but it's one of the pains that are okay, and you can continue. Or if there's something that it's better now if you're getting sick or have a cold, now it's better maybe to rest for a few days. And that's also something, I learned over the years to listen what my body is telling me.
Yeah, that's very wise. I also believe in that. I believe my body is intelligent, and then if only you pause to listen, it can give you hints what actually you need to eat right now, and then it can give you hints whether now is a time to rest and recalibrate. Because sometimes what I want to do is I just want to go forward and then keep on doing. Then my body just sends me a signal that, oh, you should take a breather, man, take a pause. And then sometimes I have to fight my mind to listen to my body, because my mind says that do more. But my body says it's really time to take a step back, recalibrate, chill for a while, regroup, so that you can perform at a better level. Because you may be having a lot of haste, but there's less speed when you keep on trying to do, because it's not very efficient. And over these past few months, it's also why I learned to listen. And then when I do that, what happens to me is that I will get signs that you're on the right path, you're on track, everything is as it should be, it's fine. And after a while, I just, okay, I'll listen to you, and then I know it's for my own good. Yeah, something like that. I don't know whether that sounds really silly.
No, exactly. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Great. And Ingo, if you could share, like, over the years, 1 or 2 important lessons that you glean from your experience.
Yes, I think the first one I shared already. I think most people they're living beyond or below their standards, right? They don't dare to dream big and go out of themselves. And I think people should much more believe in themselves and dream big. And it's not wrong to dream big, right? And shoot for the stars and eventually land only on the moon. But it's just go out of your comfort zone and try. And I think most people would be surprised how much their body or their mind or their brain is able to achieve if they just want it and just start to do it. That's the first one. And I think the second one that I found is really important is the aspect of pacing yourself. Because and that's what I see also today in social media and everything, right? We want everything very fast, right? We want everything right now. We want to do something, but we want the result right now, right? We don't want to wait 6 months or 12 months or whatever it takes to get the result, right? We want it right now.
Yes, so instant gratification. Yeah, that's a society right now.
And that's, I think, it's a problem. And I think if you do this long distance events, you really learn to pace yourself. Because if in the Ironman, if I'm on the bicycle, if I go too fast for a few minutes, it will pay off in kilometer 30 on the marathon, right? So it will just, I will have to pay the bill for that. So it's very important to pace. And yeah, I see that most people, they start too fast and then they give up too quickly. Lately, I went here locally to a trail run. It was like a 32-kilometer trail run. And I just went there for fun, actually. But we started, there were like 40 participants or something like that. And everybody started, it's 32 kilometers. It's also a long event. But they started running like crazy. What's going on? And I just run slowly in the beginning. I ran my pace. And everybody was gone after the first 5 minutes. But in the end, I finished third because everybody ahead of me gave up somehow. I didn't see them, but yeah, so they just they're starting quick and they gave up. So I think that's
Wow.
pacing is an important aspect.
Really pacing yourself is really important from what I hear from you. And slow and steady wins the race. But you're not slow, but you're steady, and that's how you win the race.
Yeah, you just need to find your pace. That's also what I teach my kids, by the way. Just don't go fast, find your rhythm, and go with your rhythm. And yeah. Also, again, listen to your body. It's a long day or it's a long event. And, yeah, don't start fast and give up.
I hear this rhythm quite a lot from athletes where, and my personal experience, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that some people have a rhythm like when you're swimming, one arm stroke and two kicks, and then like when you're running it's like how many steps and then you take one breath, and then everyone has a slightly different rhythm, and if you find your rhythm that is the most efficient and comfortable and natural for you, does that sound true?
Yeah, it sounds a little bit scientific to me. It's probably true, but I never really thought about it.
Oh.
I have no idea if you ask me now. If I'm running, I never think about my breathing, or if I'm swimming, I can't tell you now how many kicks I do per stroke or something. So it's just the natural flow, I would say. I'm trying not to make a science out of it, right? It's just like more important to feel the water.
For a beginner like me, is what I need to have certain anchor points. But after a while, once you get into your groove, and then you've been doing this for decades, right? Then it probably is like second nature already. It's like someone jumping into a car, not needing to thinking about when do I turn the signal, when do I shift gear. Everything's natural for you already. You don't need to think. Yeah.
I don't think.
Nice. Yeah. And Ingo, I heard that you are going into transformational coaching already. And would you like to share why are you doing this and why do you think a person would need a coach?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I think it also came from my past. So we talked already about Ironman racing, and I think also in my professional life, all my life I was quite good in setting goals and also achieving the goals. But somehow I felt that something inside me is missing, that I'm missing an aspect of my life. So I was good in certain areas of my life, but others maybe less, and I neglected them. And so we moved 2 years ago to Mexico, and I went with my family here, and we had an adventure here. And also over the last years, I dig more inside myself into this inner work, like working on myself, finding my true values and my true beliefs and my true passions. And I think that's very important today, because today we have a lot of influence and we have a lot of noise around us, and we are disturbed a lot by all this social media, but also by opinions of our friends and families and other people of the society. So I think it's many people, they think they follow their values, but actually it's just maybe something we took over from somebody else. Maybe it's social media, or maybe it's from your parents or somebody. And for me, it was very important to doing this inner work, and I think I really, I found my new life, and I'm doing a lot of things different. I'm much more present now, and so I wanted to help people doing the same, and I started also doing some education or in transformational coaching. Transformational coaching means basically that it's not based solely on motivation. Most of the approaches you find today, and this is where we're coming back to what we said before about getting the instant success, right? So we want results now. So most of the motivational stuff you find today is something like, get a result in 2 months, and you have to do this and that. So you have to redefine exactly what is the outcome. So in transformational coaching, it's different, because you don't really know the outcome, but you're working on much deeper on yourself, and you're not looking for the solution somewhere outside. So you're looking basically for the solution inside yourself. And as a transformational coach, the idea is also not to provide the solution to other people. It's just to help them or to guide them to find their own way and path, because I believe yeah, there are no predefined ways or paths, right? Everybody needs to find his own way. Everybody needs to cook his own recipe, right? If you say that. So, and I think that's something that I want to help people with, and I'm really passionate about now. And yeah, that's
Wow.
what I'm doing right now.
Wow. It seems like it's something that you are really passionate about, and then when you describe it, everything just flows. So I think it's like you're driven by a purpose, and that sounds really awesome. And I really have so much learnings from you. A lot of things I agree with, whether it's listening to your body, the importance of food, nutrition, organic food, the importance of going out of our comfort zones, and there's a lot that we can achieve if only we have the courage to try. And this transformational coaching, and it's we don't just do superficial stuff, not just goal setting and then achieving it and then that's the end. It's more about the inner work, the inner journey, finding your principles, your values, your even changing your beliefs so that you get to grow into the next version of you and then achieving your potential, because there's all of us have a lot of hidden potential if only we spend the time to look and find the treasures within ourselves. We can do so much more.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, and yeah, would you have anything that you would like to ask me?
What I'd like to ask
Yeah.
you, so you're also working you're also doing education in coaching, and you also, I'm very interested in people that making also such a, let's call it a spiritual transformation. Can you tell me a little bit about yours, how that
Oh,
happened?
sure, sure. I all along my life I have been someone that goes against the grain. I don't like to follow scripts in a way, because a lot of things that you can say conventional wisdom, or like what people normally do, and I don't gel with that very well. I like to find my own way, find my own path. And then traditionally speaking, I'm a third generation health professional. So my granddad is a dentist, my dad is a doctor, and then being youngest in the family and none of my brothers took up the mantle, it feels okay. It falls upon me to continue the family tradition to be a doctor. And then along the way, I questioned myself many times, even just prior to going to university. Although my top three choices were medicine, I thrown in marine biology, computer science, forestry, because all these things interest me. I also have a wide variety of interests. And then when I got the, sorry, this is going to be a long story. I hope that's okay. Yeah.
It's a podcast.
Yeah. When I got a spot in University of Wales, Bangor, which is a big thing coming from someone in Malaysia to fly over to Europe and getting a spot in and getting a bursary of £2,000 a year. But at that time, my family's financial situation wasn't that great, so I had to give that dream up and then continue studying in a local university in medicine. And in the first few months I was like, this is just temporary until I get my full scholarship and I can study over there. But in the end, I had to stay in. But along the way, I start to find aspects and niches even in medicine where I can find myself really enjoying it. There are parts of medicine where it can get really dreary, and then you just have to set your mind on something that inspires you and motivates you, and then you expand from there. And then I completed my housemanship. I completed my medical school, and then completed my housemanship training. Was grilling. It's like working 36 hours shifts, and then sometimes it's like you do that 2 to 3 times a week, 36-hour working, and then it's crazy. But I still love what I do. And then, but a few years down the road, as a medical officer, I had I lost my passion somewhat because of work, because of I was given certain ultimatums by my superiors, like you are stuck in this department forever. Either you quit or either you become a specialist. But I am not a person who wants to be a specialist. I am more of a breath is more important to me than death in certain aspects. So when that didn't gel with me, and then I felt stuck, and then I felt lost, and then I started trying different things outside of my work, investing, and then trying Bitcoin. Trying that was back in 2014 when Bitcoin is like 600 USD, and I was in.
Oh, so you're very original, huh?
No, that's the thing. I went in at the wrong period, so it
Uh,
dropped to 280 USD in a few months, and then the mining cost, because it's
yeah.
very energy intensive, right? So the
Yes.
cost to pay the bills, it could not be recovered from the sale of Bitcoin. I had to exit that, and then I had to exit a few different other investments, and then I lost a lot of things, and I lost myself as well. And that's when I took a flight, a one-way flight to South America, to Chile, and I cycled
Oh,
alone for 3 months. And then,
yes.
yeah, that's where I found that during the journey, I provided free acupuncture services for people who showed me kindness, who gave me a place to stay because I didn't have a lot of money. I had only like $10 USD per day to spend, when in Chile, the average is like you need 40 USD to spend. I only had 10. So I camp, I couch surf, people took me from the street, and then I repay their kindness by providing them free acupuncture services. And I really love that. I found that I thought I didn't want to do medicine anymore, but this one-to-one connection with someone, being able to heal them with my hands, it feels right, it feels natural. So this is what I wanted to do. Then I flew back to KL after that, reinvigorated, inspired. I had a medical practice where I combined Western medicine and Eastern medicine, and I had a lot
Hmm.
of happy clients, a lot of first timers virgin to acupuncture, and then they were like amazed by what it could do. And then I had patients come to me and say that, can you teach me acupuncture? I'm like, wow, I didn't expect that. And then a lot of my clients, because over in Malaysia we have the majority are Malays, and we have Chinese and Indians,
Yes.
and to Malays, acupuncture is something very foreign, although Chinese is embedded in them, that traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture being part of it, is something they're used to, right? But surprisingly, a lot of Malay clients opened to acupuncture and came to me. And then I felt, this is the right thing to do. But because I had to repay a lot of debts that I incurred from all my attempts at investing and everything, I had to come to Singapore, to where the currency is 3 times bigger, so it helps me clear my debt much faster. And it was a good few years before, again, circumstances, bureaucracy made me lost again. And then I had anxiety, I had imposter syndrome, I had to drag myself to work, and then every day was just so trying and so torturing. And then I had quit my job after 6 to 7 years actually, and then
Okay.
spent a few months to find myself again. And then I'm glad that I found myself again through spirituality, and then I found that my inner purpose and my mission is to bridge science and spirituality. Previously, in my travels in Chile, the purpose was to bridge Eastern and Western medicine, but now I
Yes.
find this goal even bigger than that. And whatever I do, through my newsletter, through my podcast, through my group coaching sessions, my one-to-one personal coaching sessions, I bring forth the importance of spirituality, bring their awareness to it, and how it can actually change their lives. And indeed, a simple practice like mindfulness have changed the lives of my clients already. And I find that this is important beyond treating an illness or disease by a pill, and then you just treat a very small population, a very small part of the population with disease, whether it's physical illness or mental illness. There are a large group of population, 70% I would say, that are not thriving, not flourishing, because they are, like as you mentioned earlier, they are conditioned a certain way. They keep themselves small, they place themselves in a comfort zone, and then and some of them are even languishing. They are not sick, they are not unwell, but they're not happy in whatever they are.
Yeah.
And what inspires me is, what can I do to help people flourish, to help people thrive, to bring them from the left end of the well-being spectrum, the illness, languishing, all the way to the right, flourishing, thriving, be their best version of themselves. This inspires me, and this is what I do.
Sounds great. So you sound really happy now that
Yes,
you found yourself.
yes, I am. I
That's
am.
awesome. That's good. So
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. But now you live still in Singapore?
Yes, I'm still in Singapore. Still in Singapore, and yeah, I'm now into wellness and spiritual coaching, and we share the parts of our niches, and then I definitely have a lot of things to learn from you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can also learn from you. There's a lot.
Yeah.
In every good conversation, we can learn, right?
Yes, I think from the points that we brought out just now, we have a lot of things to explore even deeper. But it's so great to hear so much and so much wisdom from you today, Ingo. And I thank you for your time. Signing off from the Holistic Human podcast, and we thank Ingo. See you, Ingo, and we'll probably chat with you again another day. Bye.
Yes, thank you for the invitation. It was great. Bye.
Bye. Okay, hold your horses. See, I actually have this experience with a certain saint when I was in South America. I'm not sure whether I told you this. At the early part of the travel, before I really started cycling on highways and everything, I stayed over at this hostel. Then that time I didn't speak much Spanish, right? I could speak maybe 5 words of Spanish, and we somehow I carried a conversation with the hostel owner, and then bye bye. My wife going to work, and then
Bye.
sorry. Oh yeah. Then yeah, the next day I left without telling them, and then I just cycled on started cycling on the highway. Then suddenly I see this car, a pickup truck actually. That I keep on seeing the same pickup truck at different lanes of the highway or something, and then doing circles. And then I was like wondering, oh, are they doing some kind of maintenance? And then suddenly this pickup truck stopped in front of me, and then out came the male owner and the female owner of the hostel, and then they said that we finally found you. And then she passed to me this bracelet, and it has on it the Saint Sebastian, the patron saint of travelers. And they hunted high and low for me to pass me that. And then after they left, I just cried because it was just I just spent an evening with them, and I didn't even speak much Spanish, but they find it important enough to find me and give me this one.
That's
This bracelet actually saved me. So this is what I choose to believe. I know my belief may be wrong, but it's what I choose to believe because it empowers me. There was this very this number of hills that I was cycling, and then it was very strenuous. When I let myself go neutral, the speed I descend is about 52 kilometers per hour without me pedaling, so it's quite scary. And then somewhere along the way, the highway patrol came and stopped me and said that we will fetch you down. You're not allowed to cycle here. So they placed me in a lorry and sent me to the end of the highway. When I started pedaling again, I made some DIY panniers, the front bags you put in front of your front wheel when you are touring. And then the strap went into my wheel. And then at that moment I thought that, oh, this could have happened when I was going downhill at 52 kilometers an hour with 18 wheelers next to me. I really could have died. And
yes.
when I had that moment, all the
Goosebumps.
goosebumps came up and everything. And then at that point, I just suddenly had a thought, and I looked at my left wrist, and I looked at it, and then the bracelet was gone.
Okay.
And I took it as a sign that, oh, there's something bigger. And then yeah, I felt saved, and I felt so much gratitude for the people who saved me. And yeah, that's my experience with the saints in South America. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, but these are the experiences that shape us and
Yes.
we memorized, right?
Yes.
When you talked about your father and your grandfather and that you followed a path but were not really happy, I think that's very similar to my story, right? I also went in an engineering job and I thought I have to be successful, so I followed also my father's value, and it reminded me my story. And from this, it took me also many years to find myself to my own values. Today, I'm very happy.
Yes. Yeah. I followed what my lineage is supposed to do, and we may achieve certain success metrics like money, wealth, power, fame,
Yes.
but for most of us who are in touch with our inner self, these things don't they are not what motivates us. And then even when we reach that, there's something missing. And I find a lot of people in society are like that. They reach there, then they feel hollow inside, and then they don't know what to do next. And then
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yeah, it leaves you empty. You achieve your goals, but it's not really bringing you forward.
correct. Yeah, I absolutely agree.